Now, before y'all give me my accolades, because y'all said, oh wow, she's been saying she wants to be a lawyer and she is a lawyer. I did a lot of saying, I didn't do a lot of action. I didn't do a lot of research, okay? But we gonna get into that. What's up, you guys? It's your girl Angela with Aspiring Boss. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. Today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys the background on my legal journey. I get a lot of questions because a lot of you guys are new subscribers and haven't been able to catch up on some of my old videos that kind of tells my legal journey. I do encourage you guys to go check out my law school playlist and my lawyer life playlist, but I thought I would make it simple for you guys to just go over my legal journey here in one video. So allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Angela. I am a fifth-year associate practicing mergers and acquisitions law at a large law firm here in the Midwest. One thing that I hope you guys learn from my journey and watching my videos is that your beginning doesn't define your success. Not even after you've already graduated from law school. And you will see that throughout my channel is that I didn't start the best. I didn't always do things right, and it did not prevent me from being successful. Also, I hope you guys see that there's not a cookie cutter way to do anything. There's always exceptions to the rules. Lastly, I want to encourage you guys, depending on where you are in your journey, to always shoot for the best, right? A lot of people will say, you don't have to go to the top law school to be successful. You don't have to get the best grades. No, you don't. And I am a testament to that with respect to going to the best law school. However, I would encourage you to shoot for those things if you still have a chance, okay? You should always shoot for the best. And let's be honest, the people that go to the best schools, the people that have the best grades, those people will have more opportunities. It doesn't mean that there's not a lane for you if you don't. Myself an example, but why not shoot for the best if you can? So without further ado, let's get into my legal journey. I'm gonna take you guys to back in the day when your girl was just an elementary student. I grew up in Texas, but my parents were from Illinois, so I would spend some summers with my grandparents on my father's side. One summer I was in Illinois with my grandparents and they put me in a program at the University of Illinois called College for Kids. The program was all about exposing children to different career paths. It was great, okay? So in this program, I got exposed to the profession of a lawyer, and I got to do all these exercises and learn all these things about what it was to be a lawyer. Obviously, I was young and didn't really comprehend, but it was really cool, and I stuck with it. That summer, I literally decided I wanted to be a lawyer, and I stuck with that all throughout my life. That was always what I said I was gonna be. Now, before y'all give me my accolades, because y'all said, oh wow, she's been saying she wants to be a lawyer, and she is a lawyer, I did a lot of saying, I didn't do a lot of action. I didn't do a lot of research, okay? But we gonna get into that. So, let's jump all the way to high school, when things start counting, right? So I get to high school. So I've always been that person that made, decent grades, A's and B's, right? That's just kind of always been me. I mean, my parents, particularly my dad, expected that from me. And fortunately, I was able to do that without, kind of overexerting myself. I look back on high school and college now and realize, wow, if I put the effort I put in law school, I could have really been like killing it. But you can't go back in time. So I get to high school, I had decent grades, right? However, I didn't have the best guidance, okay? Neither one of my parents at that time went to college. They very much encouraged me to go to college. They very much rooted for me and required good grades of me. But looking back, I think they just didn't even know certain things that I should have been doing. And I certainly didn't know. And my guidance counselor certainly wasn't pushing me to do it. So I didn't apply to college until I was a senior. And I think it was second semester of senior year. I was not serious about it. And it's not that I wasn't serious about going. I always knew I was going to go to college. I just wasn't focused on the things that you need to be focused on to go to college and go to a good college. So I finally realized, oh crap, I have to get serious about school. So I applied to a couple schools and ended up choosing Texas State University in San Marcos, Texas. As a lot of you know, it's a decent school, but it's a state school and it's certainly not the top of the top. So I get to college, right? Still not focused on the things that I should be focused on as a person who says she wants to be a lawyer, right? Like, I'm making decent grades, but I'm not super serious about my grades. I didn't get serious about my grades until end of sophomore year, junior year, when in junior year, you're supposed to be applying for law school. Junior year, you should be taking LSAT prep courses and preparing to take the LSAT. So I get to my junior year, realize like, oh my gosh, I want to be a lawyer. I haven't done anything. I haven't done any research on schools. I haven't done any research on the legal fields. I haven't taken the LSAT. I haven't taken the LSAT prep course. Am I going to do this? I need to get serious about it. So by then I'm like, okay, I gotta buckle down. I gotta get this GPA right. I mean, again, I've always been a person to make decent grades, but I certainly wasn't making a 4.0, to go to the top law school. And then I realized, I'm a comm major. And the reason why I picked communications was kind of embedded in the fact that I knew I wanted to go to law school, but still that's as far as it went. I picked comm because I figured I'll get some good communication, analytical thinking skills, right? So I knew that much. I did that much, thank God. But I also picked it because I knew I could probably do pretty decent in it, right? I knew it was a lot easier than, say, you know, accounting or engineering. And I knew I ultimately wanted to go to law school, so I knew I wasn't too worried about it. But I wasn't doing the work to actually go to law school. Like, I didn't do any of the right things that I should have been doing. And those things should have been LSAT prep, making sure I made all A's, making sure I was researching law schools, making sure I was visiting law schools, make sure I was researching the legal market. I wasn't doing any of that. So I finally got serious and ended up taking the LSAT. I ended up taking the LSAT prep course. Y'all, I still did not take that prep course serious. So I ended up getting like a 154 in the LSAT. Didn't retake the LSAT like I should have to try to get a better score because I just kind of didn't want to. And I applied to a few law schools, even got a little scholarship money and thought it was fine, right? Looking back on the law schools that I applied to and the law school I ultimately ended up going to, the statistics weren't that great for success, for the success that I say I wanted to be. You guys, back then I didn't even know what big law was. I didn't know that there was a whole big law thing. I didn't know all the different careers you can go down. I didn't even know how much money you could make. I didn't know the importance of going to a top law school or the best law school you can go to and how it sets you apart from those who don't. I knew none of that, you guys. I went into this thing blindly, very uninformed, you guys. I'm being very transparent here. This, like, looking back, this is very embarrassing that I went down this path and was not informed and did not really even know what I was getting myself into. And this is exactly why I created this channel, because I don't want you guys going into these things blindly. Because although it worked out for me, sometimes it won't work out. Sometimes you will get to a point where you don't even get into law school, or you get into a law school but it's lower tiered and you get terrible grades and you don't have a job at the end. And again, even if all that happens, there's still light at the end of the tunnel because you can always change your life around. But why make it hard on yourself? And that is what I'm trying to get here. Don't make it hard on yourself. Make it as easy for yourself later by doing the work in the beginning. And that's one thing I did not do in the beginning, is do the work. So I ended up choosing to go to South Texas College of Law in Houston. And I'm choosing that because Houston seemed like a great city, but more importantly, the legal market in Houston is booming. It still is, and that was back in 2013 when I started there. And also I noticed that even though my school that I chose was lower tiered, a lot of those people still get jobs in the city of Houston. People recruit from the city of Houston, and it's a large city, so lots of opportunity. Even though it's not the best school, even though it's not a top tier school, if you want to work in Houston, you still have a lot of opportunity to get a good job. And I knew I wasn't going back to El Paso. Houston seemed like a cool city, so I was cool working there and living there. Okay, so here I am starting this tier 4 or tier 3 law school and realizing I'm gonna get in a lot of debt to go to law school. Do I really want to do this? And you guys, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I called my dad and almost backed out of going to law school. I called him and realized, hey, this is a lot of debt to get in. This is risky. I don't know that I'm gonna do this. And I think my dad talked me off the ledge, okay? One thing that I was blessed with is to have very supportive parents. My parents always told me I could do anything that I wanted to do. My parents always encouraged me. So my dad talked me off the ledge. I ended up going to law school and getting in all that debt, even though I was very nervous. But I told myself, you're gonna get in this debt, you better put the work in. So here in the story is where things start to shift for me. You guys see, I wasn't doing the work in high school. I didn't get into the best college because I didn't even put the work in to go to the best college. I didn't put the work in college, so I got into a lower tiered law school and had to go to a lower tiered law school. Got a little bit of scholarship money, but not enough to make a dent. So I said to myself, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go to law school, you're gonna kill it, you're gonna get a great job that's gonna help you pay back all these student loans, and you're gonna work to get some scholarship money from this school as time progresses. Not the most ideal situation. Still very risky, but I believed in myself. My parents believed in me, and so I did it. Here's where things started to turn. So I worked my tail off that first semester of law school. I mean, you guys, I put the work in. I did the readings. When it came to studying for the exams, I studied my butt off. And I have videos on how I studied, how I got A's, how things worked out, and I'll link them up here. But I worked harder than I ever worked in life. Previous to this, I did well, I did okay, but I did okay with little effort, okay? I'm just one of those people that school comes a lot easier to me than it comes to some people. But I put the work in. And you guys, the results came through. I ended my first semester of law school in the top 2%. I think I ended out the first year in the top 5, but that first semester, I was in the top 2%. I had a 3.995 GPA because I worked my tail off, and I told myself, you have slacked enough and it's time to get it together. And I put that work in, you guys. And so it ended up being able to really kind of turn the trajectory of my legal career around. You know, I've been doing average this whole time, and then I changed my mindset and I watched the trajectory of my career change and increase. Okay, so since I got those good grades, I was able to secure a summer associate position at one of the top law firms in Houston the summer after my 1L year. You guys, once I got a taste of that kind of high level work, that kind of environment, the type of money I could make, is when I realized, oh, wow, this is big. This is huge. This is the way to do it. This is why people say you should go to the top schools. You have access to so many opportunities. And you're gonna get a lot of people who say, well, I don't wanna do big law. Big law isn't for me. It's not for everybody. It is not. I agree, big law is not for everybody. But what I will say is it can be very strategic, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Okay, so now we're in my 2L year. I'm still doing really, really well in school. I have summer associate positions secured for the summer, for my 2L summer, which is the important summer, right? Because 2L summer is where you get job offers for full-time employment. Both of those summer associate positions were for top law firms in Houston. One, the one I worked at previously, my 1L summer, and another one for a really top law firm in Houston. So I said, well, these are both big law, and people say so many things about big law and how terrible it is and how stressful it is, and you know, although you make good money, it's just very bad. So I thought, let me try small law. Let me try a small law internship. And I knew I could secure one, because if you can secure a big law, you're going to be able to secure a small law, because they just don't have as stringent requirements. So I tried an internship at a small law firm my second semester of my 2L year. And honestly, you know, it wasn't for me, but it wasn't for me because it was small law. It was really more so because of the type of law. It was family law, which, you guys, it's interesting, but it's just very, you know, you just see people at their worst with divorces and child support and just all those things. I knew that wasn't for me. I knew I wanted to be more of a business lawyer at that point, because I got exposure my 1L year, and I realized I could use that in so many aspects, even if law doesn't end up being my forever career. So I did experience small law. And I say that to say a lot of people are anti-big law because they say that it's stressful and it's not worth it, and you work a lot of hours and it's miserable. And my rebuttal to that is, I agree, big law is not for everyone. Big law can be stressful. But what I will say is that if you're gonna be a lawyer, your job's most likely gonna be stressful. If you're gonna work in a law firm, some of those same things that people complain about big law hold tried and true to small law. And if you're someone like me who went in a lot of debt, the salary differences can be very beneficial to someone who wants to live a certain life and pay off debt. So that was a huge thing for me. Also, if you start in small law, it's kind of hard to transition into big law. You kind of have to get years under your belt, become a specialist, blah, 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 blah. You can always transition out of big law to smaller law, to different career paths. That's not me saying this just because I work in big law. That's just me saying this because that's been what I've seen. And that is a huge reason why I chose to go the big law route. One thing that I learned in law school, a lot of people who said that they didn't want to do big law, they hated big law, is because they didn't have the opportunity to do it. And that's just facts. Like, that's just real. And I really am not trying to come off ugly by saying that. But if you notice in life, people will say things like that. Oh, I would never want that. Or I would never do that. Well, you kind of happen to have the opportunity. So your point is not valid. Now, there are people in big law who literally are in big law and say, this is terrible, you shouldn't do it. And I can respect that. But what I will say is, even if you don't want it to be your job long-term, it can be strategic and it can open up opportunities. Okay, so we've done the small law, we've done the big law internships. At the end of my 2L summer, I was offered positions at both firms. So I had to choose which firm am I gonna go with? I have offers from both. They're both pretty great. I like both of them. I ended up going with the firm that I worked at, both my 1L and 2L, because I just felt like I had made better connections there. I knew people there, I had mentors there, and I had a good vibe. So I started my job, I think it was September 2016 is when I started working. And I started as a real estate and finance lawyer. So I was doing real estate and banking and finance law. If you guys are familiar with me now, you guys know that I practice mergers and acquisition and general corporate law. So I work at that firm in real estate and finance law for about a year and a half, a little bit under a year and a half. And then I decided to move to the Midwest. So now I'm having to look for another job in another state. So I reached out to a headhunter. Within, I think, a week and a half, I had an interview at a firm here in the Midwest in Kansas City. And they flew me out for the interview. I interviewed, they offered me the position, like literally like 2 weeks later, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I was moving to Kansas City to start my career here. And in that move, I did a career pivot. One thing that I realized when I got into real estate and finance in Houston, I kind of regretted my decision not to go to corporate. I realized not only that the corporate work was a little bit more interesting, I also realized it would be very beneficial to me personally and my family personally, just because I have business owners in my family and knowing things about business would be great. And also thought it would open up opportunities for me outside of the law firm if I decided to leave the law firm setting. So I switched over and became a corporate mergers and acquisitions attorney in that move. One thing that I failed to mention is that I had to retake the bar in order to move. So I started my job and everything, but I had to take the bar that summer. And you guys, it was a little bit different. So I was working. So I couldn't just, take the whole summer. I wasn't a student anymore like I was when I took the bar previously. I didn't have a job. I just studied all day. But, I'm in my career now. They're like, you've already passed one bar. We believe in you. You're gonna work. You can maybe take a week off before you take the bar, but yeah, we expect you to work while preparing for the bar. So I had to study for the bar while working, but I was a lot more confident. I took the Texas bar exam, which was one of the hardest bar exams to take. It wasn't uniform like Missouri was. So I studied for the bar exam while working. I would study in the evenings and on the weekends. Took the Missouri bar exam in July of 2018. Found out I passed that September and was clicking along just fine. So at this point, I've taken 2 bar exams, one in Texas, one in Missouri, passed both on the first try. Again, because I had a mindset that I can do anything that I want to do if I put the work in. I put the work in both times, had no issues. I was sworn in to both, so now I'm licensed to practice in both Missouri and Texas. So then I was at that firm for a while, really great firm, really liked it, and was able to build some relationships with some of the partners at that firm. And so you will find once you get into the legal world that people move around, people lateral between firms quite often. So the opportunity presented itself to move over to another large law firm. Okay, so now we're here to present day where I'm in my 5th year practicing law, really enjoying the work that I do and really starting to get some responsibility. I really don't know where my future holds, right? Like I'm still in my 5th year. I feel like that's so young in the legal career. You really don't know where things are going to take you. But what I can say is I've learned a lot. I continue to learn, and whatever I do, I'm going to continue to believe and work to be the best that I can be. Okay, so let's do a little recap. So I went to a state school for undergrad, nothing fancy, no great grades. I had a 3.4 GPA, was 150s LSAT. Ended up going to a low-ranked law school because of that, because I just wasn't on it when it came to college and preparing for law school. Came into law school very unaware of opportunities for legal market, law schools, what's necessary. And then prior to law school, I really started to get serious about my future and doubling down on working hard and changing my mindset. I am a firm believer that that moment changed my life and changed the trajectory of my career. And so why am I making this video? To one, address some of your questions about my legal journey, but also two, to encourage you guys that no matter where you are in your legal journey, even if you've graduated, changing your mindset, putting the work in, and going after what you want is possible, and you can be successful in any endeavors that you want to do as long as you put the work in, as long as you go for it and you don't give up. It will be hard, it will be tough, but it will be absolutely worth it. And if you have not even started your legal career, if you have not even started law school yet, oh honey, the world is yours, okay? Go after it. I really hope that this video answers some of your questions, and I really hope that it's an encouragement for you guys to go after your dreams, okay? Even if you're not a lawyer, even if you don't decide to be a lawyer, go after your dreams, okay? Make good decisions when you're young, because it will affect your future. It will open up opportunities for you, and you can be whatever it is that you want to be. With that, I'm gonna let you guys go. If you're not subscribed already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Please make sure you like this video. Please make sure you have your notification bell on, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.